Why solving 300 or more DSA problems still fails interviews. So here's something that doesn't make sense. You've grinded LeetCode for months. Solved 300, maybe 400 problems. You know your sliding windows, your binary searches, your graph traversals inside out. And then you walk into an interview and freeze. Or worse, you solve it perfectly, and they still reject you. If that's ever happened to you, don't close this video. Because I'm about to show you why effort and intelligence aren't the problem here. The problem is how interviews actually evaluate you. And once you see it, everything clicks. Let's get into it. Alright, look at this funnel on screen right now. This single visual explains why so many strong coders, people who can solve hard problems on LeetCode, completely bomb their interviews. Here's the thing most people get wrong. Interviews don't test your code first. They test your thinking first. See the top of this funnel? That's where the evaluation actually begins. Not when you start typing. Way before that. Let me ask you something. When you hear a problem in an interview, what's the first thing you do? If you're like most people, you're already scanning your mental database. Is this 2 pointers? Sliding window? Wait, maybe a stack. But here's what interviewers are actually waiting for. They want you to restate the problem. In your own words. Out loud. Why? Because that tells them you understand what's being asked. That you're not just pattern matching. That you can break down ambiguity. I've seen people solve the wrong problem perfectly. Beautiful code. 0 points. Because they never confirmed what they were solving in the first place. This step takes 20 seconds. And it changes everything. This layer right here is where most interviews are won or lost. Constraints aren't just boring details. They decide your approach. Is the input size 10? Or 10 million? Because one needs a nested loop, the other doesn't. Are there negative numbers? Duplicates? Empty arrays? These aren't edge cases to handle later. They shape your solution from the start. I see this all the time. Someone writes beautiful code for the wrong assumptions. The interviewer asks, what if the array is empty? And suddenly, everything breaks. Strong candidates don't guess. They ask. They clarify. They treat this like a real engineering discussion, because that's what it is. Look at the funnel again. If you skip this layer, you don't get to the next one cleanly. Everything below gets messy. Now we're getting to the part that separates junior thinking from senior thinking. And here's the weird part. You can show senior-level judgment even in a junior interview. Just by doing this. Interviewers don't want magic. They don't want you to instantly pull out the optimal n log n solution from thin air. They want to see evolution. Start with brute force. Say it out loud. The simplest way is to check every pair, that's n superscript 2. Then identify the bottleneck. We're recalculating the same sum multiple times. That's inefficient. Then optimize, step by step. If we use a prefix sum, we cut it down to n. When you explain trade-offs like this time versus space, readability versus performance, you sound like someone who's actually shipped code. Someone who's made real engineering decisions. That signal is so much stronger than just writing perfect code silently. Because here's the truth, in real work, you'll rarely write perfect code on the first try. But you'll always need to explain your thinking, justify your choices, and evolve your approach. This layer proves you can do that. Only now do you start coding. And by this point, the interviewer should already be mostly convinced. You've shown you understand the problem. You've clarified constraints. You've talked through your approach and trade-offs. The code is almost a formality. But even here, don't go silent. Use clean logic. Meaningful variable names, not I, J, temp. Actually say what they represent. And while you're coding, narrate a little. Not every line. But key moments. I'm using a hash map here to store frequencies, or this condition handles the edge case we talked about. It keeps the conversation going. It shows confidence. Look at the funnel. Code is at the bottom for a reason. It's the output of good thinking, not the starting point. Okay, so now let me show you what breaks down. A lot of candidates, even really strong ones, stay on this left side of the process. They hear the problem, immediately guess a pattern, and start coding. Quietly. Heads down. Maybe they get it right. Maybe they don't. But either way, the signal they're sending is weak. The interviewer doesn't see how you think. They don't see your process. They don't see you handling ambiguity or reasoning through trade-offs. Even if your code works, you've only proven one thing: you've seen this problem before. And that's not enough. Strong candidates do something completely different. They stay on this side. They ask clarifying questions. They restate the problem. They talk through constraints and edge cases. They explain trade-offs. Suddenly, the interview isn't an exam anymore. It's a conversation. And in that conversation, the interviewer gets to see how you think, how you communicate, how you collaborate. Those are the signals that lead to offers. Not just correct code. Clear thinking. So here's the takeaway. Solving 300 problems? That's great. It builds muscle memory. It sharpens your instincts. But solving problems with this funnel mindset, that's what actually clears interviews. DSA is a tool. A really important tool. But thinking? Communication? Structured problem solving? That's the skill. And the good news is, you can practice this. You can train this. Just like you trained your two-pointer technique or your dynamic programming. Start treating every problem like an interview. Not just can I solve it, but can I explain it clearly? Can I justify my choices? Can I walk someone through my thinking? That shift changes everything. This is exactly why I built AlgoVisual. To make this kind of structured, interview-ready thinking visual and clear. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this video helped, go ahead and subscribe. Share it with a friend who's grinding LeetCode right now. They'll thank you later. I've also dropped some extra notes and resources in the description. Templates, frameworks, things you can use right away. Thanks for watching. And good luck with your next interview. You're closer than you think.